Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. It is Valentine's Day, or rather it will be, or will have been, Valentine's Day when this video gets published, and I thought I'd use this opportunity to talk about a topic that I've been neglecting more or less, even though it's been, even though it's a large point of the literary community I am a part of, and that topic is the love interest. Or more specifically, as the title of this video will have already given away, I want to talk about how to best write a love interest. I already made a video like this where I talked about how to write villains way back in the early history of my channel, and on this occasion I wanted to use my powers of analysis and presentation to showcase how to write a different character archetype or character role, whatever you want to call it. An additional caveat that I want to mention here is that I want to make this writing advice as as broad as possible while still being functionally applicable. So I'm giving you this advice so that it is in such a way that the gender of the character you're writing doesn't matter, and also the genre of the work you're writing shouldn't make a difference within the applicability of what it is that I'm telling you. So if you clicked on this video for advice, regardless of what it is you are writing, I'm hoping that what I am about to tell you will be the difference maker for you. Okay, now that we've cleared that up and we're all on the same picture, I want to start with the very, very basics. Before I even get into the specifics of writing a love interest, I want to remind you that the love interest, before they are anything else, they are their own separate and distinctive character with their own specific set of characteristics, goals, desires, interests, and ambitions. And it is your job as an author to give them, to impart upon them these attributes, these characteristics, in such a way that they come across as an authentic character within the story or the setting that you are trying to put together. This is a very simple point, but it is surprisingly easy to mess up. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into why that is the case. I just just something I've noted can happen and want to make sure that it doesn't. Moving ahead and getting into what actually makes a love interest, and what actually makes a love interest. The first point of order stems primarily from the fact that that they have a specific role within the story. And that specific role is for them to have and establish a connection to the main character, and that connection will in some way have to be reflected in the ways that they are in their creation. That could be they could have a similar background, similar ambitions, similar similar interests, or anything else about them. However, they do not have to be they do not have to be a copy of this character. We're no longer in the Minnie Mouse for Mickey Mouse era when it comes to love interests. There is still there is room for divergence between them, and of particular note here is that you can write these divergences such that these characters become complementary to each other, or they contrast each other in a way that builds the broader message of whatever narrative you are trying to put together. Because that gives them something that gives them either the love interest or the main character or both something to work towards, and therefore maybe some obstacle to overcome if they are to come together by the end of the story. The love interest could be argued to be similar to a villain in this regard, because of their because of differences within their within their interests. However, the relationship between a love interest and a main character is one that is more likely, or that is rather expected to have a more positive outcome. You could also consider making the love interest the villain, or one of the assistants, helpers, lieutenants of the villain, if you feel so inclined. If you find that the contrast between between the characters is sufficiently strong, or find the resulting dynamic to be interesting to write. But that's a separate question. The second point to consider when it comes to writing a love interest stems from the appeal that they have and how that is presented. Because even if you're not writing in first person singular, the audience will still receive the story from the perspective of the main character, and therefore the impressions that the main character receives of the world, of the elements, and of the characters within it, including the love interest, will be showcased directly to the reader. So if there is no chemistry between main character and love interest, they will immediately notice it, and they will consider that relationship flat, not be interested in it, not be interested in the main character. So you have to establish something about not being interested in the love interest. So you have to establish what about the love interest makes them interesting in this romantic sense. You don't necessarily have to make the love interest universally likable. That is that is not necessarily something to go into. But you do have to establish what it is about the love interest that the main character finds interesting. What it is about the love interest that the main character turns the main character into a pursuant character. Also, ideally, that level of interest should be to at least some extent mutual, which means that not only do you have to present what it is about the love interest that makes the main character pursue them, you also have to establish how the connection between the love interest and the main character develops. So what attracts the love interest to the to the main character? What is it about their potential relationship that is appealing to that to that love interest as well? And in doing so, you find, and in order to most effectively do so, you will you'll have to find that that one particular aspect, or that particular set of aspects, that allows these characters to become not just interesting separately, but also makes them work together. What makes people want to what makes people invested? What will make your readership invested in in their relationship, in seeing them together, and in how their particular developments make them more make them more compelling to read through, to learn about. Admittedly, this advice does have some level of nuance, some level of nuance to it, and the first level of nuance actually comes from the primary assumption of this video, namely the fact that the love interest is bound to end up with the main character, when in truth you could also write a love interest for the side character, in which case a lot of the advice will be still has that same level of applicability, but it will have to be scaled down somewhat in order to fit within the role and scope of the story as it is assigned to the as you have designated it for this for the side character and any connected characters. The second potential point of divergence stems from the fact that I've hinted towards the relationship between the main character and love interest ultimately having to be positive, even though I said that the love interest could also be could also be a villain. It is possible that they would still stay a villain by the by the end, have interests that are just too strongly dissonant, in which case you can very much lean potentially into the tragedy of that, of their interests pushing them, pushing these characters that far apart. The third point of divergence I could imagine actually stems from the fact that I hinted towards this relationship being mutual, when it again doesn't necessarily have to be so. It can be the draw between them can be either absent or distorted. In which case you have to present either what it is about either what prevents such a relationship from developing, or showcase the plane, the lens through which this this distortion can occur. It is a bit of a tall order. I will give you that, but as I often say within these videos, as the author, you basically have all the tools through which you define the world, and through which you can say what happens and what's supposed to what's supposed to happen. You have all the tools through which you can through which you can make that happen. So be sure to use them. And yeah, that was my writing advice. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, well then, or found it useful, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to the video itself or to my review of it, that's what the comment section is for. Or rather, if you have anything to say about the review or how I present it, comment section. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then, please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and A Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I would suggest you check out should you choose to. And given I have a third book on the way, with potential release announcements and such, now might be as good a time as any for you to choose to follow my social media. I also have a second channel where you can hear me talking about whatever crosses my mind, though it'll typically still be related to narrative analyses, but of works outside the print medium. So if you want to hear my thoughts on on that, you can go ahead and check that out as well. If, however, you want to hear more about my thoughts on the print medium and also potentially selected works therein, well then I suggest you stay on this channel and go through my extensive backlog, where aside from the occasional writing advice video, I also do rewriting videos or rewrite videos, but I primarily do a lot of book review videos, with some occasional videos on miscellaneous connected topics. So if that's of interest to you, then check out my backlog. If, however, none of what I've said tickles your fancy, at least not at the moment, well then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was it for me. So until next time, I've been Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.